Hi, I'm Matt from Geelong Environment Council and I want to talk to you about the proposed Nelson Cove project in Geelong on the site of the former Cheetham Salt Works. For a group keen on preserving and protecting what little remains of our natural environment, the proposed Nelson Cove development certainly presents an undesirable scenario. A plan to convert essentially the last remaining substantial piece of land available to flora and fauna in Corio Bay to a canal-style housing estate ticks all the boxes for an act of gross environmental irresponsibility. Furthermore, a potential situation of Crown land being transferred to private ownership for the destruction and loss for all time of a valuable and unique habitat suggests an even bleaker future for the environment in general. The area in blue represents Crown land, including the strip on the shoreline of the eastern edge of Stingaree Bay. The Crown land forms a valuable habitat for many forms of flora and fauna, including migratory and local wading birds, and should never be transferred to private hands. Its environmental and sea barrier properties are too valuable to lose. Many people are aware of the local and migratory birds that rely on this site for food and refuge. Many people may also be aware of the valuable seagrass beds in Stingaree Bay that would be negatively affected by increased boating traffic and works to maintain a constructed beach, where currently hundreds of birds forage for food in the shallow intertidal zone. What many people may not know, however, is that the former Cheetham Salt site, with its integral seawall, currently provides valuable protection from the sea for the heavily populated and low-lying urban areas of Newcombe and Whittington and the industrial area of Moolap. As you can see, the seawall, which was constructed to facilitate the solar salt operation, is a robust and effective barrier to the sea. Given the threat of climate change-induced sea level rise and existing drainage problems for low-lying areas, this seawall is an essential piece of infrastructure that protects the viability of a large area of urban and industrial land. Low-lying topography, together with the threat of climate change-induced sea level rise, means the seawall and wetlands are the best friends of the residents and businesses that call these areas home. So, given the robust protection from the sea that the seawall and wetlands currently provide, what are the proponents of the Nelson Cove project proposing? They are proposing to breach the basalt seawall and bring the ocean right to the Port Arlington Road. They want to destroy the integrity of the seawall in order to provide passage to the boats of a privileged few. In this diagram of the proposal, you can see the suburb of Newcombe to the south and the Port Arlington Road. The breach in the seawall is indicated, and this is where boats are proposed to have access to Stingaree Bay. This breach of the existing seawall means the waters of Corio Bay come unimpeded to the Port Arlington Road and therefore extremely close to Newcombe. It doesn't take long to make a list of likely ramifications brought about by bringing the sea hundreds of metres closer to an area that is barely above sea level and already beset by flooding and inundation problems. For property owners in these areas, decreasing property values and rising insurance premiums are two distinct possibilities. For governments, it is easy to visualise decades of litigation by affected people and businesses underpinned by the fact that the project was easily foreseen to be problematic and foolhardy. A brief synopsis of the scenario proposed by this project reads like a multifaceted planning and environmental horror story. Transferring Crown land to a private entity which then brings the ocean much closer to a low-lying residential and industrial area, courtesy of intentionally negating an existing sea barrier, whilst destroying a remnant and extremely valuable environmental asset. From many perspectives, the Nelson Cove proposal is easily identified as disastrous, and it must not proceed past this conceptual stage. We'd like to give you a brief look at why this area is so important for birdlife in particular. A mix of cormorants, some red-necked stints in the intertidal zone, some black swans with Geelong in the background, an egret with Cardinia Park and the CSIRO in the background, Thanks for watching, and we hope you will support us in opposing the Nelson Cove development and creating a world-class birdlife park and conservation reserve on the former Cheetham saltfields.